Hello Earthlings, ultra glad round from the Bronx here for today. We're going to get to the most important elements of boxing, which is shadow boxing. I don't care what anybody tells you, hitting the heavy bag, sparring in the ring, hitting the uppercut bag, hitting the speed bag, the double end bag, the reflex bag, whatever it may be to sharpen your craft, shadow boxing will always be the best thing. You can look at people such as Muhammad Ali back in the day. He would do shadow box on television shows, in the middle of the street, anywhere, playing around with people, or just to sharpen his skills and see if he still got it. Or even of our generation, Pacquiao. Pacquiao will shadow box anywhere. There's a lot of footage of it. He'll be running, he'll just be anywhere trying to hone in on his craft and think about what he needs to do to execute that game plan to the best ability inside that ring. Now the cool thing about shadow boxing is that you can polish your jabs, your crosses, your jab crosses, your jab cross left hooks, your uppercuts and hooks, everything, your evasive techniques, your ability to go in and out of danger, your countering ability, like literally you can focus and hone in on everything when you are shadow boxing. That is the beauty of shadow boxing. I don't care what anybody tells you. Shadow boxing is one of the most effective tools to get yourself to the highest level when it comes to boxing. But the bad thing is, when you're shadow boxing incorrectly, that shadow boxing will show up on the heavy bag. That shadow boxing will show up while sparring. If you're a fighter, amateur or pro, that shadow boxing will show up in the ring against an opponent. Now, remember this. Use your time wisely and effectively when you're in that ring, either taking your coaching advice if you have the money to pay for a trainer, or if you're by yourself in your home or outside in a park. Focus on certain things, jot it down in a book, what is your intentions on what you're trying to do. Now, when you're shadow boxing, you have to be aware of the true boxing stance to make sure that you're doing it effectively from the jump. Okay, I understand a lot of people when they shadow box, they want to try to be cool, move around like this here and moving around and stuff like that. That's all cool and all, but if you do not know what you're doing, you're going to build bad habits. Certain people like Prince Nassim, Roy Jones Jr., Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather at times can keep their hands down because they had the athletic ability to get out of danger effectively and counter with that pinpoint precision, either knocking that person out or severely damaging them. But if you do not have that and you do not have the fundamentals at bay, do not even attempt to do that. Or even with the regular guarding. Don't attempt to do the Philly shell defense just because you're like, oh, this looks super cool. Let me try it out in the ring. Let me try it out while shadow boxing. No. The fundamentals do not derive from that. As cool, as mystic, as whatever it may look when you're watching it on TV, that's not how you shadow box. When you're shadow boxing, you want to start from the true boxing stance. Just like I'm square with you right now, you're gonna bring that front back foot right here, right outside that front foot. Make sure both feet are 45-degree angle. You wanna make sure that back foot's on the ball of your toes. Posture is straight. Bring those hands forward, chin tucked in, and those elbows are nice and tight to the body. And you can start with the mid guard. You can either have it here, high guard. I mean, you have the low guard, but I mean, again, that comes with experience. With trying to bait your opponent in to counter, depending on what it is and how they fight. But when you're starting out, this is the stance you want to start from, right here. Right? You want to keep that guard up, ready to block if necessary, move, weave, pivot out the way, whatever it may be. You want to have that guard in play. Now, this is the hardest thing for most people to do correctly because they either have their hands flare out here, they either do a motion like this. When they throw, they're throwing from back here. Like they're not keeping the punches right where they need to be. Now, if you're doing what you need to do in shadow boxing correctly, that punch is gonna do damage. It doesn't take that much pressure on the chin, the temple, behind the ear to knock somebody out. It does not take that much pressure at all. You just gotta be accurate and know how to throw your punches and when to throw your punches, which is the most important. But when you're in that boxing stance, and you're right here, you want to throw right from where you are, right from here. So you're throwing that jab from here. I'm right here, throwing that jab from here. You don't need to pull back. Throwing that jab from there. And when you're throwing it, you want to make sure that shoulder is nice and tucked into your face. Those first two knuckles are the two knuckles you're trying to make contact with. And you can either throw it from stationary, stepping, or hopping all into one motion. And then right back into that stance. Now, it's the same thing, but with the cross, you don't need to hop. You need to pivot. You need to throw that hip into it. Now, if you're trying to throw a flurry of punches, sometimes you may forget to pivot. That power isn't at its highest, but when you're throwing the cross, you want to make sure it's coming out like that here. Just like that, and right back to the face. Now with the cross, again, you do not need to load up. Just throw it from right where it is. All right? Now throw it in unison together, the jab cross, right from where it is. Right from that guard. So you're ready to evade or block when necessary. Now, the thing with the punches is that you want to keep them straight. You want to keep them in this little circle. It doesn't need to go out, out, out. I mean, if you're throwing an overhand right, okay, I can't say it doesn't need to go out, but it's still somewhat in that circle. Because if you're throwing a correct overhand right, that's how it should look. Just like that there. It doesn't need to go, no, that's a looping, crazy looking right hand, no. If you're throwing it correctly, it should just look just like that there, and right back to the face. Now when you're throwing hooks, right from the slat, and keeping that elbow nice and tight to the rib cage, that's where that hook is coming from. Now you don't always need to pivot. If you're leaning to one side after evading a move, then it can be necessary to throw that hook over. But when you're throwing that hook, you don't need to pivot. Here again, you're throwing it from right here, over. And it can make it easier if you have a ball, like a basketball, and just move that ball and practice that technique just like that there. Because it'll keep your arm in a 90-degree angle. That's the most important thing, is keeping that angle when you're throwing that hook. If you either throw it this way or this way, either way is correct. They're still gonna have a lot of power behind it. So we're throwing that hook, just like that there. And it's the same with that right hook. And right back to the face. Now with the uppercuts, keeping that elbow nice and tight to the body, you're gonna throw it right from the hip. So I'm here, just like that. And it's the same with the left uppercut. You don't need to dip to the left and then throw it. Incorrect. It's more like hard to notice when you're here and you're throwing it from just like that. You're just making sure that hip and that full rotation is going into the hook, making it super effective. Now the other techniques, from the true boxing stance, right here, from right here, to evade, you just want to break that center line. All right, when you're starting out, pivot that left foot, all right, all the way, shifting that weight, right back, pivot that back foot, all the way, shifting the weight, and then right back. But you want to break that center line to ensure your head does not get clipped, okay? And then once you get the experience, all you gotta do is just move like this here, all right? That's how you're slipping straight punches. Just like that there, okay? All right? Now from here, getting into dips to avoid the hooks to the head. By the head length, you're just dropping down, low squat, low squat, low squat. Okay, so just like this, very subtle. Just like that, very subtle. And stay in that stance, make sure that back foot does not cross behind that front foot. All right, keeping everything in. And then from here, so you have to make sure you're avoiding a super fast right hand. You're not quick enough maybe to catch it or parry the right. Back foot, you stand right here, step back. And you can either counter with the right or just come right back to that box stance, just to evade. Just like that there, and then come right back. And then when you're pivoting can be used to evade very quick hooks, preferably left hooks. So I'm here, say it's about to hit your face, you could roll with it. But when you pivot, you don't want to pivot with your shoulders, you want to pivot with your hips. So your hips is the one doing the pivoting. So here, okay, just like that, I'm gonna do it slow, okay, and then going back to the right. All right, just like that there, keeping that high guard. And then for the last of these particular moves, these are just the fundamentals, these are the basics. You want to make sure when you parry, you do not overly parry, because guess what happens? You leave yourself open, okay? You do not want to overly parry. If you see a jab or a cross and you're quick enough to respond, that's it. That's it. That's all you do. And then from here, you can counter right over it. Right from there, just catch it. That's all you're doing. And then with the blocking, which is the most important, hook to the head, hand up, okay? Hand up, or both hands up, just like that. And when to the body, you just dip, but you don't want to break your stance. So you just dip, you're gonna catch that punch in the elbows, okay? You're gonna catch the punch into the elbows. Now to have a little fun, we're gonna get into the shadow boxing just for a bit. This is the most important. You do fun. All right, before we get into the shadow boxing workout, we're only be doing it for 1 minute each. I'm not gonna do it 2 or 3 minutes because it could just be a little daunting, especially if you've never done this before. I want you to try to really focus in on what I'm saying. It's gonna be 1 minute on, 30 seconds rest. I want you to have fun with it. Try to stay true to that technique, and hopefully you get everything you need to get out of it. Let's go. All right, let's get into that true boxing stance, keeping that guard up. Slip left, slip left, slip right, slip right. Advance forward, advance back. Pivot to the right using your hips. Back, pivot back to the left. Keeping that guard up, keeping that guard up. Analyzing your opponent, trying to make sure that they're not going to hit you with something random and you're not prepared, okay? Analyzing those shoulders. All right, pivot left. Again, pivoting from the hips. Just like this here, now pivot back right. Keeping that guard. Slip right. Slip left, slip right. All right, advance, advance. Go back, go back. Pivot right.
10 seconds.
Go back, pivot left. All right, now side to side. All right, let's go right back to that box then. Make sure those elbows are nice and tight to the body and that guard is up, chin is tucked into that chest. You are ready, you are lasered into your opponent. You're going side to side movement, side to side movement. Playing around with your opponent, playing around with your opponent. Going back to the right, make sure those feet are not crossing. All right, you're advancing, dip. Going back, dip. Now when you're going forward, you use that back foot to propel you. When you're going back, you use that front foot to propel you backwards, okay? Right back to that stance. Dip. Slip left, slip right, dip. Going to the right, pivot right. Just like that there. Advance forward. Now start to go back, keeping that guard. All right, parry the right hand, parry the left, parry the right.
10 seconds.
Step back, just like that. Step back, and We're gonna pivot left. Going right back, pivot left. Keeping that guard, keeping that guard.
Rest.
Right back to that box stance. Make sure those elbows are nice and tight to the body. Chin tucked in into the chest. Chin tucked into the chest. Lasered in, focused, dialed in into that pointer right in front of you. Throw the jab. All right. You throw the jab. Make sure it's coming from the rib cage out, just like that. Right back to the face. Jab. You're not stepping with it. Just throw the jab out. Jab. Make sure that technique is dialed in. Jab. Dip. Step into the right. Dip. Step to the left, dip, double jab, right back to the face, double jab, right back to the face, keeping that high guard. You're going left to right, going back, pivoting right, stepping back, jab, pivoting left,
10 seconds.
Jab with the step. All right, so you're going to propel yourself forward, throwing a step jab, stepping right back, stepping right back.
Rest.
Let's go. Right back into it. Have fun with it. Elbows nice and tight to the body. Dialed in again into that person that you're visualizing trying to hit you. When you're throwing across. When you're throwing across, make sure it's nice and tight to the body. First two knuckles making contact with that chin. That back foot is pivoting right back to the face. Just like that there. All right, now we're going to throw the jab with the cross. Moving to the left. Stop. Jab cross. Jab cross. Jab cross.
Halfway there.
Jab cross. Jab cross. Dip. Jab cross. Step with the jab cross. All right, step back. Step with that jab cross. Pivot right. Dip. Step with the jab cross. Step back.
10 seconds.
Pivot left. Jab cross. Keeping that guard up. Lasered in. Dialed into that opponent. Double jab cross. Stepping with it.
Rest.
All right, it's gonna be the last round. We're just gonna be throwing punches, but you're not gonna be throwing them with maximum intensity. You're gonna focus with the technique, and we're gonna throw everything that I showed you from the beginning, and throwing some dips in there, some pivoting, and some evading techniques. But have fun with it. That's the main key. Final round, let's go. Elbows nice and tight to the body, chin tucked into the chest. Make sure you're staying true to that boxing stance. When you're throwing a jab, you're just throwing it out there. Just trying to get used to that motion. Make sure everything is nice and tight to the body. Just being loose as possible, making sure your shoulders are relaxed. You're not up here, your shoulders are relaxed, your guard is up. Pivoting to the right. Again, just throwing all the punches. Just trying to be loose and getting comfortable with the movement. That's the fun part. Again, don't throw from here, don't throw from there. Don't telegraph it, no need for that. Just throw them from the body, throw them from the chest. Throw the punches right from where they are. Okay, have fun, pivot to the left, right back. All right, same again. Just throwing those punches, moving to the right.
10 seconds.
Okay, moving to the left. Just throwing them punches out there. Just getting used to the movement. Having fun with it. Thank you for joining me today on the path to the ultraviolet. If you liked the video, please subscribe. But other than that, stay with peace and love, everyone.